born in a sin, born in a fallen world. Satan is the God of this world. And how people just conform to the ways of the world, for they know not what they do. Father, please forgive them. Because I could think about before I touched this cross and how the narrative of my life was. But I always told, always believed in the Lord. I always prayed, I always cried out to Him. And there were things in this world that never made sense to me. So maybe that's why the Lord will pick somebody or touch somebody that really, it says, those who call upon the Father or draw near to Him, the Father draws near to them. Because, we flee our youthful lust. To say we haven't sinned there would be no truth in us. We're liars. Because there's a time of our immaturities where we don't know what's good or bad for us. And some people, those immaturities are worse than others. The generational curses that people lie under because they've seen pain, trauma, and then that puts them in the enemy's territory. That's why they say we bear the sins up to 4 generations. If you have a dysfunctional family and you're born into that family, it's going to emotionally and mentally traumatize you. That's not hatred. That's truth. That's the truth that's represented to you when you become healed, the removal of the stony heart. Then it renews your mind. You start thinking about things more clearly and making better choices for yourself. That's not hatred, because I don't have hate in my heart. I don't have unforgiveness in my heart, because I think about everything that I've been through in life has made me who I am today. And I can use that wisdom. Like He says, I'm ashamed of wise and prudent. Those are the people who are forever learning but never coming to the truth. So with the foolish things of the world, I've been foolish over a lot of things, and I'm sure we all have. We've all fallen short. We've all lived in sin. I mean, in our immaturities, we didn't know any better. Some of us never come to that knowledge or start making better decisions, unfortunately. It's very sad. That's the mourning and sackcloth that you go into when the Spirit of truth comes upon you. Where you're seeing people become destructive for their own well-being. Now, they're not just betraying me. Rebellion is a sin of witchcraft. When you're in rebellion, you're betraying everything in your past, your relationships, your future, any hope that you might have for your life. And that's why they say the enemy doesn't bother those he has under deception, self-deception, where you're not operating your full will of God. Now, at this cross, there's just things my dreams and hopes have changed. This world doesn't really appease to me anymore. Love not the world and love the Father is not in you. And I have opportunities to gain it, but I choose not to. And that's why the carnal-minded worldly people are like, we don't understand you. Why are you? I say, you don't understand me because you're not living for the Lord. There's a great end of the spectrum, and you're at the other end of it. Broad is the way to destruction, and many are going in. I mean, think about it. All the things that you're living for, if it becomes materialistic and it consumes your time and energy, there's no peace in your life. It's like they say, there's no rest for the wicked. They're running to and fro. And then while there, when this cross touched me, I kept saying to the Lord, why do I feel like I'm being tossed around by dark forces? Because I was seeking the Lord and they were seeking the world, and it wasn't fitting to me anymore. It no longer fitted my mantle or my character, So, and it's not hatred to do what's best for yourself. You can have healthy boundaries, which are required when you're trying to find your peace or place in this world. I don't hate anybody. I'm not carrying unforgiveness. And as I said in my other videos, if anyone bringing up your past experiences, pain, traumas, that's like the tongue of the craft, maybe they're not doing it intentionally to hurt you. Maybe in common conversation, but they're not guarding their mouth. They don't have control of their members to be able to do that for you. So that's why it says being unequally yoked. You got to try to find people that are speaking life to you, saying good for you, you're loved. Can I be available to you? What do you need? Can I be, and it's not monetary always, it's emotional and mental support. Like, I will hold your hand and you can cry on my shoulder, or, because we all have trials. It says in the world you will have them. But who's available to you during those trials? Those are the people that are going to put the hand of love in your life, agape love, the love that we require or need that we've lost sight of. That's not hatred. I always tell people, how can you be? I have people saying, you're naive, you're too nice. I'm like, how can that be? Well, that's like, it must be the Lord saying the corrupted mind, where you've lived around darkness so long that it's destroyed your perspective and perception on reality, because I've noticed that, like, when I came to this talk, the people have been through a lot of trauma or dysfunction. They think everybody's doing wrong things because they've seen nothing but wrong. So it's overtaken the mind. And so it's put the distrust in their behavior towards everyone because it's too risky. So that's why I always say, like, I don't I give everyone a fair chance and they will reveal themselves to me. That's like test and discern the spirits. Test, them by their fruit. That's required. That's like a sound mind thing. Wait a minute. You're not operating right, or you're hurting my feelings, or you don't behave right, or I can't be around somebody who doesn't respect other people's peace. That's not mean. I mean, like, I can't go to a family function where someone's using profanity and there's children all around. Children become what's poured into them. I mean, that's not hatred. That's like saying, wait a minute, this is inappropriate behavior. Because that's why I always say, if you love your children, you're going to create the environment that gives them peace and safety. Love warns and protects. You know, uh, I think about my upbringing, what I've overcome, because I told the Lord one day, I know I wasn't put on this earth to suffer. None of us are. But sometimes we become immune or complacent with the suffering we're in. And I'm like, I know a lot of people in the dark say, oh, this is just part of life. Part of life is not destructive. It says abundancy, favor. That's part of life. Life is not part of death. And that's where people's minds, because the enemy has overtaken the mind and used trauma and pain, or they've sat in it so long and they think it's normal. This is what people go through. This is, part of life. Part of life is not dying inside. That's not. That's not the life I want. Not the life I want. I want, happiness, joy, peace. And I found that by coming to the Lord, the cross, and Him delivering me from every sin that I ever lived in. To say I haven't sinned would be a lie, whom I was chief. Some of the greatest prophets were sinners. A prophet is just a teacher, a counsel, someone with words of wisdom. So anybody can stand in that authority, all of us. The enemy may not want you to know that, but the same power that lives in Christ, our Creator, lives in all of us. We all have that power, but it gets diminished and depleted from living in a fallen world where a lot of rebellion exists. So you got to stand guard of what's true to you, true to who you are, what your hopes and what your dreams are. It says the righteous and meek will inherit the land. If even your enemies will be at peace with you if you're not combative or at war with anybody or yourself. Because if you're at war with yourself, that storm goes with you wherever you go. I used to tell people this all the time. They're like, I'm moving out of here. I don't like it here. Where are you running to? You're taking yourself with you. It's inside your mind, inside your heart, inside your will. You can't run from yourself. And that's when the Lord told me, no matter where you go, it doesn't matter. It's who you are. You can be anywhere in the world and operate in either kingdom. You got to know your power.